Welcome to another edition of Be the Change Georgia, where we amplify the voices of the inspiring business leaders surrounding the B Corp and social impact movements across the Southeast to help you learn how to build your legacy at the intersection of people, planet, purpose, and profit. Today, there are more than 8,000 B Corps in over 80 countries and 180 different industries, unified by one common goal: transforming the global economy to benefit all people, communities, and the planet. If you want to learn how to plug into our purpose-driven business community alongside the inspiring leaders we feature on this show, check us out at blocalgeorgia.com or on Instagram or Facebook at blocalgeorgia, and we'll hope to meet you at our next event. On today's episode, we're flipping the script as our producer and Chat with Leaders media co-founder, Quentin Thomas, is going to interview me about this year's BLD Southeast conference. BLD, which stands for B Corp Leadership Development, is a conference organized by B local community leaders from around the Southeast to strengthen and support the local B Corp movement, as well as all purpose and mission-driven entrepreneurs that will be in attendance. This year's BLD Southeast will take place right here in Atlanta, Georgia on September 11th and 12th. Stay tuned to learn more about this year's event. From the amazing speakers and the incredible opening excursions to our wonderful venues and all of the opportunities you'll have to connect with others who are passionate about using their influence as a force for good, this is an event you will not want to miss.
Nathan Stuck, how are you doing?
Doing great. Excited to be here. Excited to sit on this side of the microphone. I'm not even leaning forward today. I'm leaning back.
Relaxed.
I could kick my feet up in my office. I'd be kicking my feet up.
See, you're not interviewing any guests, so you're just like, hey, let's just do it.
I'm here for it. And people don't know this, but we're recording on a Friday afternoon. So just be glad this is still water.
Awesome. Well, everybody, this is our pre-BLD Southeast episode of Be the Change Georgia. And yes, the tables are flipped. So, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into it. The first question is, what inspired you to get involved with Be Local Georgia and take on the role of chair for BLD Southeast? And also, could you share a little bit about BLD Southeast and its significance in the B Corp community?
Be Local Georgia, honestly, was just a void. We didn't have a Be Local. I found out these things existed. I went to a Champions Retreat. I went to a B Summit in Amsterdam by accident. Then I went to a Champions Retreat. And I just was like, man, I think I realized the importance of community. And I saw all these people that knew each other. And so for me, when I got back to Georgia, I was like, we need to get these people together. And we had kind of met some of them at Champions Retreat in New Orleans. And, and honestly, I guess that's my origin story to even BLD Southeast, is there was that moment in time. And I think I told the story last year in Raleigh too, at the first ever one we did in person. But there was a moment in time in 2018, and then they were so excited to be in the South. Bless their hearts. They came down to New Orleans. It didn't even have any B Corps. Like, this counts? Like, all right, yeah, sure. But they were like, who here's from New Orleans? And like, nobody. Just crickets. And then like, what about Mississippi? And it was like, still nobody. Alabama. So finally, this poor MC is just like, what about the South in general? And they were like, yay, us. It was like so embarrassing. And you could feel the bless your hearts coming from the rest of the attendees. Like, look at these good people here. So I don't know. Be Local Georgia started shortly thereafter. And then BLD Southeast started 2020 during COVID because we were bored. Sure, I'll plan a conference. And then, it's just grown from there, though. But I honestly think for me, though, it was that moment's never going to happen again. We got like 6 or 7 B Corps in New Orleans now. We got 7 in Alabama. We got 30. We had 8 in Georgia at the time. We got 32 in Georgia now. Florida's got like 50 something. North Carolina's got like 70 something. Like, I mean, to quote my man Andre 3000. South got something to say. That's all I got to say about it. That was kind of my thought, though. But it was the community of like BLD Southeast. We didn't have that anybody bringing us together, and we didn't have those numbers. Like, like you're jealous of the Portlands, of the Denvers, and the Bay areas where like Portland has like a holiday market of B Corp like stuff, like B Corp made goods, and you're like, bro, I don't have numbers like that. Like I'm just trying to get them to show up to my happy hour, like, and I just want them to break bread and get to know each other. So honestly, that's kind of what this endeavor has been about: is how do we get people together from this whole region and start to build that collective mindset of it's important that we do business with each other, that we know each other, we do business with each other, we refer each other, we recommend each other, we open doors for each other. Like when we start to do that, it it leads to deals, but it also leads to the profitability of our businesses, the survival rate of our businesses. It's the sustainability of our businesses. And when our businesses that we run like this as good business is a force for good, whatever you want to call it, this new version of capitalism that we're imagining, when we run our businesses this way and people see that they're profitable and we lose that, like, what are y'all doing? When we lose that element and people go like, oh, what are y'all doing? That I think is when we start to shift the hearts and minds of everybody the naysayers in the South who are kind of like, but I mean, not even the South, but just I think the in general, like of everybody, when they see this version of capitalism works, I think more people will get on board. So I think it's important that we are in this room together, that we are doing this. So yeah, so I fall on the sword every year and make it happen. And I've got an amazing planning committee behind me. I've got an amazing host committee behind me. And we're just excited to bring everybody to Atlanta this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I went to the one last year. That was the first build that I went to, and it was amazing. And what you're talking about like bringing these people together, and also at the same time, I mean, you're trying to overcome that thing of it being siloed, right? Where it's like the people you're bringing together are just the same people who are showing up all the time. You're trying to get new people involved, trying to expose it to new audiences as well too. How do you do that from your perspective? How do you start getting other people besides the typical crew involved in this good business movement?
That's a great question. I think you gotta. Oh God, now I can hear my dad correct my English. I think you have to. Not
Oh,
gotta.
good.
You got to do what you have to. I think you have to I think you have to put together a good show. I think you have to. Like the content matters, the presentation matters, the excursions matter. Last year in Raleigh, we were able to do like a really dope walking tour of downtown Raleigh, and then we ended at Black Friday Market. But we got to see like the first LGBTQ plus bar. We got to see a place at the table that, like, and yeah, it's hot. It's September. It's the South. Like we're walking around all sweating on each other. I remember, I think it was Valencia, and she was just like, I can't do it. And she just like got in her car. She's like, I'll see you at the reception. She said, I'm not standing out here in this heat. But yeah, but like things like that. And so the other people took a tour of Compost Now, and like, who's seen a composting facility? I haven't. I've seen my backyard compost. So I think putting together the content and curating, and the next day we had some amazing speakers. But I also think engaging your community, like the lessons we learned from last year too, when I looked at the demographics of who was there, and it wasn't a lot of Kentucky, it wasn't a lot of the Mid Atlantic, which I know doesn't sound like the Southeast, but like Virginia, like they have more in common with the Southeast than they probably do with the Northeast. When you look at Maryland and Virginia, they don't have any SEC schools, but hey, we'll take them anyway. So, but I think this year some of the lessons I learned though was to really engage the local leadership there. Scott in Kentucky and George and Hazel up in the DMV and Maryland, or whatever you want to call it, be local Mid Atlantic. And I've noticed now too, we're going to have an incredible turnout from both those states, and even engaging Tennessee and engaging, trying to get West Tennessee, like there's a B Corp in Memphis, trying to get them here, trying to make sure we got New Orleans represented. But also that means then bringing speakers in, and then also making sure that we're not just bringing speakers in for the sake of bringing speakers in, that we're bringing speakers in that people actually want to hear, that maybe have recognizable names or anything. But then you're also dealing with the fact that we are a very low budget production. I mean, honestly, the budget is fairly significant. The difference is that we're charging, our early bird tickets were like $299, summer sale $349, currently on sale. Actually, by the time this comes out, it might be $399. But we're gonna have promo codes all over the internet. Anyway, buy your ticket. So keeping it affordable though, so people can come, because the original premise of a build is the B Corp Leadership Development Conference, is that you send the owner goes to Champions Retreat, the big B Corp conference. You send your team to the build, and we want to make sure we have the owners in the building too, because they need to know each other. But then we also hope we're keeping it affordable and accessible to both the employees at B Corps, but also being here and building this big tent, good business movement, making sure that we're affordable for anybody that's just kind of curious of like, what is the B Corp community, and what like what we call them, like, be curious, and this, like what does this stand for? What are they doing? Like, and so yeah, I think that's the most important part though, is how do you keep it affordable and accessible and inclusive like that, and then but it also means you got to get people in the building, which means you do have to be very intentional with who's speaking, where they're from, your marketing efforts. Our planning committee has somebody from each state on the planning committee to make sure that, hey, you're out getting sponsorships, you're out letting your community know that this is happening, and you're also letting them know that they are wanted at the event. That it's not just, this isn't the Atlanta show. Last year wasn't just the Triangle show. This is the Southeastern show.
Yeah, I love that. And actually talking about, the difference between Champions Retreat, Build, and actually bringing employees of certified B Corps, what can employees of certified B Corps, or even other people who may be interested in this movement, expect from this event? Like what benefits are they going to see from attending Build Southeast this year?
Throwing some real humdingers, not to tease the humdinger, not to tease our day one venue. Um, I think they can expect something that they've never seen before. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think that there is, like, we're going bigger than we ever have. And I've been to builds in other cities. I've been to Build Mountain West in Denver. I've been to Build New England, and where were we? Manchester, New Hampshire. It's really cool. I stayed at a haunted hotel. But I've always been a junkie for these, and I went to Michigan for Goods event last year, which is kind of their version of a build. So I mean, I've loved to go to these events all over the place, but I think we're going bigger than anybody's ever gone for a build. We last year we did the excursions, and then we did a little happy hour, but like we have a day one this year. Like, and honestly, like our day one last year with the excursions, the little happy hours, kind of become like day zero this year, where you're like, get to Atlanta early. We're going to the rooftop at Ponce, and we're going to try to check out the Beltline, and we're just going to go do some stuff. So we have some like seriously incredible tours. Like I mean, last year I thought that the excursions were amazing, but this year on day one, we have excursions to the Russell Center. We have excursions to Morehouse, which Lavanya is helping us plan. We're going to do a film screening of the movie The Banker, and then follow that up with a panel. Russell Center is hosting us to meet the stakeholders. Jay's going to say some words. We're actually inviting special guests to that event that we want to be there to be able to take that playbook home with them of what the Russell Center has been able to do, and just the history of that building, and to see Herman Russell's office, to all of it is just so inspiring. And we hope that people come in and get to see that. We've got Chad Livesey planning a massive trash cleanup, because that's what Chad Livesey does. But we've got Chad planning this cleanup with United by Blue, which is a B Corp that also tried to trash explain to Chad and me what a trash pickup was. We're like, oh, y'all are, bless your hearts. We got this, and we got our own grabbers. No, I'm just kidding. We're excited to have them be a part of this, and just to come down and help us, and always, like, Chad and I can always use the support on those trash walks. So it's really cool to see a B Corp come in and help with that. And then we had another excursion on that Wednesday that I announced, and I think I jinxed it, because a week later we had to move it, because a small stadium called the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is the only LEED Platinum stadium in the country, I would say in the world, but LEED's only a US thing. And honestly, we'll have Dawn on an upcoming episode. We've already recorded her episode, but we were going to do that Wednesday morning. And then some little small regional company. I think they're Mercedes Benz, I think is the name of this company, booted us because they have some employee event that day. So when Don emailed me, I was just like, yeah, they kind of have rank. And I'm like, yeah, I believe they do. So we've actually now, I guess in a way, if I said Tuesday was day zero and this is day one, and then the Georgian Terrace and all the content's day two, I guess day three is going to be the Mercedes Benz. So the Friday after we're all wrapped up, people that are still in town or people that are local or people that haven't left town yet, Friday morning at 10 a.m., Dawn has told me that we'll be able to do our sustainability tour. So we're even going to have like a post event where people will be able to see the tour, see the sorting room, see the field, go on the field, and just be able to see all of the what goes into making a zero waste professional sports stadium event venue, 70 some thousand people that they seat, and then they're able to pull this off. So I hope people stick around and are able to see that as well. And then our day one programming is at Atlantucky Brewing, which I don't even know how I ended up there the first time, but I think I met them at the Russell Center. But anyway, like getting to know Scales and Skinny and trying not to fanboy either. Trying to not to be a 41-year-old who remembers Watermelon Chicken and Grits coming out when they were 19 years old. But they have a really dope spot in Castleberry Hill that's just this huge venue. And so we had Scales at a Rice event back in March, I think. And I was like, yo, what's the capacity? He's like 460. I was like, whoa. Yeah, we're booking that. So we have a day one like we're just really excited to show people Atlanta too. So day one's going to be really focused on like what is beautiful about the city and the state and getting people like excited to be there. So our panels on day one, I mean, we just showed before we started recording, I showed you Genesis B, who's going to be doing a little thing on like engaging and finding common ground. That's going to be our grounding exercise. I've got Joey Womack from Goody Nation doing the opening keynote. We've got a panel on music and culture in the South. That's where Nate Cameron from New Orleans is flying in. Either Skinny or Scales is going to join us. Trying to get some really local heavy hitters that I can't announce yet because it's not official. We're trying to get our next panel then is if you're here for the work, there's a seat at the table. So trying to show off kind of like that Atlanta mentality of just how the city was built, how everything's done with intention, and how if you are here for the work, there's a seat at the table. And Atlanta does things very inclusively, and we want to showcase kind of like maybe this is what some of the future could look like for the rest of the country. So, and we're following that up with a sustainable fashion show with Tangeria Willis, Sustainable Fashion Week Atlanta. She's also on the host committee. So we've got Vertical Activewear from Atlanta. We got Descalza from the Triangle, and let's see, TS Designs from Burlington, North Carolina is donating some t-shirts. I'm wearing one right now. So we're gonna have a fun fashion show. It's not gonna be super. I mean, we got real lines, but like I'm going down the runway, so you'll see some of your committee members and some of your friends going down the runway. And then we got a DJ. So that's just day one, and then day two. Honestly, I'd say what people can expect. We're going business content. At the end of the day, the B Corp community is a collection of for-profit businesses trying to change the world through business, trying to reimagine what capitalism could look like, but also realizing that we have to make money, we have to make payroll, we have to be able to invest in our own growth, we have to be sustainable businesses, and we want to grow. We want to add more awesome jobs. We want to scale our impact. We want to help more people, do more things, and so it's not going to be like a rah, pat ourselves on the back, look how virtuous and great we are, and oh my God, and like this is the best, and like how to be like we're gonna have like business content, like how to do better impact storytelling, how to lead a 21st century, like how to lead an evolving organization. If you're interested in like what's a 4-day work week look like, how do I go to an employee ownership model, like what is a results only work environment, like some of these things that owners tackle all the time, or like Scott Collins, who spoke last year, who from Facilities Management Services, doing a talk around using your social impact to solve some of your business's most pressing needs. So like he's created this car buying and home buying program at his company because they were having retention issues. It's a janitorial services company. So like that's what he did. And so like, I think getting people talking about that, like, yeah, it's an amazing program. And it's their like first generation homeowners, but also, yeah, he solved a business need. But the fact that he solved a business need keeps his business, makes it more profitable, which allows him to do more things like this. So you're like, it's a chicken or the egg. So I think helping companies be better, be more profitable, and be good at the same time, like it's going to be very content heavy. And even the afternoon is nothing but workshops. So there'll be 3 different tracks. People can float between the tracks, and find what works for them. We even have a young professionals track too. So for some of the students that'll be there, both undergrad, MBAs, local students, HBCU students. That we started that program last year, getting emerging social impact leaders in the building. So like we're going to have something for everybody, whether you're a marketing director or you're a CEO or you run the ops team. Like we've got content for you, but again, this isn't going to be a like B Corp. Oh, we're the best in the world. Like no, this is going to be very intentionally curated content to make sure everybody leaves with something actionable that they can implement when they get back to the office.
It sounds like it's a lot of content,
Yeah.
and I imagine that's a lot of work that has gone into it, and there's still more work to be done. It doesn't stop when the event starts. There's still more work even going on at the event as well. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
uh, I want to ask, like, just to give a shout out to the B locals out there, and particularly B local Georgia. You've kind of already told us about the role that B local communities are playing, but I mean, could you elaborate a little more on that and how people can get involved, whether it's individuals or other organizations that want to get involved in supporting their B local or supporting their local build event as well? Yeah, so how can people get involved there?
There's an element of whatever, it's overused. Be the change you want to see in the world. But there is an element of like, like see something, say something, get involved. Like, like I mean, and honestly, there's gonna be some talk around that in the young professionals track too, of like this is like, don't wait for anybody else to do this work. Get involved, roll up your sleeves. And like for me, like coming back to my origin story of how I started Be Local Georgia and then got involved in Build Southeast, I saw a need in the community that wasn't being met. Um, can I say that I figured out how to monetize that or not yet? But have I figured out a way to add value to this community? 100%. Like, have I figured out a way that, like, and it kind of takes me back to the episode we had with Joey and and he always gets weirded out when you're like, you're an inspiration. But people, it's weird when people tell you that. But Joey, like, following that Goody Nation playbook of like that need he saw in a community, and like, I just kind of fell in. And then all of a sudden you kind of find yourself as like a leader in the community. And you're like, oh, I can get 250 people to show up to Raleigh, North Carolina. This is crazy. Or to Atlanta, Georgia this year. But also I think like the cool part is I'm surrounded by other crazies who you could also credit. And I do credit and I will credit with getting these people here, because it's Lauren and Winnie in Florida. And even behind the scenes, it's people like Mary Walsh at Oak Aquatics basically raising her hand, like, I can help with some of the finances, making sure invoices get paid on time. And you're like, thank you. But she's not on the planning calls, but she just was like, if y'all need help with that, let me know. There's somebody from New York City, Caitlin Harper from Camaraderie, who is like, yo, like, what do you need? You need help with strategies? And I show her a Google sheet and she's like, yeah, can I share instead? And she's got this thing thought out, like, so in depth, but she just donated like 30 minutes. Like, I want to help you make this a success.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even like Mel in the Triangle, we burned her out last year. And then of course she's got a new job that's pulling her in different directions this year, but she's still like, I can do the website, and you get hey, all the updates are done email at like 2 a.m. when she finally can get to them, but she knocks them out for us. And Adrienne Gordon in the Triangle, and even Hazel Horvath. Poor Hazel met me, and I was like, "Oh, you should join the Be Local Mid Atlantic. You should get to know George." Next thing you know, she's on the board of Be Local Mid Atlantic. Next thing you know, she's on the Build Planning Committee. I'm like, "Sorry, you ever met me." We got Beth in New Orleans, who's kind of been the catalyst down there, which is honestly the two really cool ones to me are. And by the way, I don't want to forget Kaylee in the Triangle too, because Kaylee stepped up big time last year. And Kaylee's like kind of like, she's doing a million things and just got married, and she's been crushing it. And has really stepped into Mel's shoes and taken more of the leadership role for that region. But in our emerging markets, you have Rebecca and Taliba in Alabama that only got certified either early this year, late last year. I can't, it all runs together after a while, but like just brand new to the community. And we're like, yes. And they've helped me plan events in Birmingham and do activations in Birmingham. They're trying to fundraise with different nonprofits and like accelerators and stuff in Birmingham. And then Beth down in New Orleans with everything she's been doing with Lizzie to get, what is it, New Orleans Using Business as a Force for Good, I think is their unofficial Be Local name, because they don't have, you have to have 15 to be an official Be Local. So, but I've been down to New Orleans twice this year already for events and activations and things. And that's where I met Nate Cameron, who's going to speak on Wednesday. And so like having these people who have just raised their hand to get involved, it's been amazing. It's really powerful. It's really awesome. After our call today, when he called me and we talked for another 30 minutes, and she basically was just encouraging me that like, this is amazing. It's great. And I can't thank you enough for like just getting us involved with this and leading the charge on this. And like, I mean, that means more than anything to know you have that kind of support behind you. And this invoice is getting paid and I can forward things and they happen. But I think the other part for the people that have gotten involved is like, it's a simple raise of the hand. It's like any nonprofit board or anything. Like, I think just showing up at first and figuring out like you can dip your toes in the water a little bit. But if you want to get involved, just get involved. Every nonprofit can use energy. And I'm not asking anybody to put in the hours I'm putting, but we don't need you to. I need you to get in Canva and make some graphics. I need you to draft an email that we can blast to everybody, all the attendees. So it's those little things that like, and together as a group, our little things that we're doing just kind of pile up and pile up and pile up until we've got this massive event. Same thing with like speakers, get the speaker proposal form out, all these little things that everybody's done and done consistently. And the lessons we've learned, and honestly, the stress of putting on an event and the kind of no good deed goes unpunished element of somebody's going to complain about something, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to complain. So, just kind of getting through it together. But yeah, I'd say to anybody wanting to get involved, like, just do it. Just get involved. We always need, B Locals always need help. There's no funding from B Lab. Most of the time, I call myself the unpaid executive director of B Local Georgia. So, and I mean, we're trying to do some really cool things to engage our board a little bit more and try to delegate some stuff off my plate. But yeah, any little bit of help helps drive the community forward. And I will also add this, that the ROI to B Corp certification is in the community. So if you are a B Corp and you don't, or you're a beekeeper at a company, or you're the CEO who doesn't have the time to do this, but has that person like me at AdVic 5-6 years ago, who's just like, I love this new version of capitalism. And Jeff just was like, well, you go do the networking. You go to this Go Beyond Profit event. You go to the Conscious Capitalism event. Like, I don't know, I'm an introvert and I CEO'd all day. So you go get involved. So I think that helping companies understand that like Lauren from Climate First Bank has gotten clients from being involved with BLD Southeast for the bank. Like there's that element too of like, that it's not bad for business to get involved and build relationships, but you're building relationships that are built on trust and a respect that comes with being in the trenches, doing the work with somebody else. That when I'm working with a client on B Corp certification, and we get to that question about, is your bank B Corp certified? I wonder where I'm going to send them. Hey, Lauren, I need you to meet this person. When there's somebody that's interested in like learning and development and how do we, do better, L&D at our company, I'm like, I wonder what Beth Salyers is up to. So like those types of things of like, and then after a while they become these people are now like some of my best friends in the community. Cause for the core of us, like this is 4 years now of doing this since 2020. We skipped 21, but we did 22, we did 23, we did 24. I mean, I stay at Adrian Gordon's house when I go to Asheville. I don't get a hotel anymore. Like that's one of my besties. So like this all started, and like you think about like how far it's come for me, which is still weird. And it all started with me just kind of starting, like literally just organizing a get together, and finding a host and getting people in the room. And then, over time it's, figured out which stakeholders need to be involved and how do I build a really Georgia inclusive, all encompassing representative organization. So, but yeah, anybody can do it. Like just get involved.
You heard it. Get involved. So just to wrap everything up, for our listeners who are out there, who are still just on the fence about whether or not to come, what would you say to them to encourage them to participate in this year's Build Southeast?
What are you, crazy? Why haven't you bought your ticket yet? No. um, honestly, for the state of Georgia, I would appreciate y'all being there and showing up, because we're trying to show the rest of the country what makes the state so special, and the rest of the region, why we've been so successful in this work, and why we have such a concentration of successful, thriving Black businesses. We're the clean tech, green tech hub. Everybody's like, oh, fintech. I'm like, yeah, and green tech, clean tech, Black-owned businesses, Atlanta Black Tech, one of Goody Nation's offshoots. Like, we're really like leading in a lot of ways, and also the way in which we do this work together. So I really hope that the Georgia and specifically the Atlanta community comes out. But I also hope, Savannah's in the house. I hope that we can get some of Columbus out. Some of our Macon, Christelle, if you're listening, come up, hang out with us. But just making sure that we have our state represented. I know Americus Georgia will be there, because Trip will be there. So I really hope that the state shows up. But for the rest of the region, come get together. This is how we built this community. It's not, and our ticket this is the only conference you're going to go to ever in the last 20 years, where you're going to pay $350 for a ticket. Your hotel room's $175 a night in Midtown at the Georgian Terrace. And whatever, if you're driving or flying, you might spend a total of $1,200. If you're really going big and picking up bar tabs, maybe $1,500. But you should be all in on 2 full days of content for less than $1,500. And I don't know a conference in this country where you can buy a ticket to a decent conference that doesn't try to charge you $2,000 now. So you're getting 2 days of amazing content. You're gonna get to feel, especially for our new B Corps or our B Corp Curious companies, you're going to get to feel the magic of this community and the energy that's in the room when we all get together, and that sense of some sort of higher purpose of why we do business the way we do business. I think it's imperative that we do these things, and it's imperative that we support not only ourselves and our community and our other businesses, but the community at large. And that's really what we're doing. All the proceeds that are done with this, when we're done, the leftover money in the bank goes back to all the B locals. So we divide by 7. So there's no profit sharing. The profit sharing is the B locals. That's it. So come be a part of it, support it. Build your business, learn from each other, grow with each other. But just be in the room, man. Be in the room. It's going to be amazing.
Well, I'm looking forward to being in the room, and looking forward to seeing all the other people who will be there as well, too. Nathan, I would say thanks for coming on Be the Change Georgia, but you're always on Be the Change Georgia. So I'll just leave it with 1 or 2 sentences. How does it feel to be on the other side of the mic right now?
Feels good. It feels like I was on so many podcasts. I went on a spell there where I was on 50 podcasts, and it's been a year now since I've been on one. So honestly, it's relaxing. I'm an extrovert. I don't have to sit there and listen and follow up. I just got to ramble. I don't even know what I said.
Well, for all the listeners out there that want more information or just interested in going ahead and buying your ticket, you can visit buildsoutheast.com. That's BLD Southeast.com. And we look forward to seeing you at this year's event in Atlanta. Nathan, thanks. And I look forward to seeing you there as well.
Red Jacket will be there. Come find the guy with the beard, the flat bill, and the red jacket. Come hang out. Buy me a beer.
Well, that wraps up another edition of Be the Change Georgia. We're grateful, as always, for the opportunity to serve you with this content and grow this incredible community of purpose-driven B Corp leaders. If you haven't already, we would be grateful for you to rate the show wherever you get your podcasts by simply tapping the number of stars you think it deserves and sharing it with a friend. This helps us get the word out and continue to use our collective influence as a force for good. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the help from our production team at Chat with Leaders Media. Learn how you can launch your own podcast to grow your business at chatwithleaders.com. Thanks again for listening, and now go be a leader worth following.